Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Design and Style podcast, a podcast for designers by designers. And I am your co-host, Rachel, with Rachel Moriarty Interiors. And with me is Dixie Willard of
Designing Dixie or Dixie
Designing.
Willard Design, depending.
We're in transition.
Yeah.
Are we in
Rachel's pushing me
transition?
one way.
Are we in transition, or is it always going to be both?
I haven't decided.
You are a true creative.
We'll see when it gets here. I don't know.
This week, we are talking about money-making mindset. And why are we talking about that? Because we are business owners.
Exactly.
And yeah, part of being a business owner is making money, having a profitable business. And I have a lot to say about this. I have issues.
Oh, honey, don't we all?
It's something I have to work on. It's almost like my weight.
Yeah.
I'm just not a naturally skinny person. I have to be conscious about what I eat, and money is the same way. I constantly have to be seeking tools and, things, advice and, things to help me. Actually, that was the reason why when I stepped out of the design industry for a bit that I went into finance, because that, my whole life had been creative. And I really needed to kind of learn a little bit more about money and finances. And so that's why I went into, so that's how deep this money thing goes. That's why I shared that.
That's pretty deep.
So anyway, the reason I'm sharing this, I'm trying to pull up as I talk to you, is I read this book. It's one of those things, one of those synchronicity things that when it keeps coming up over and over and over, I have to pull the trigger. And so I just read this book called You Are a Badass at Making Money. I didn't read it. I listened to it. Jen Sincero is the author. Amazing. It took me like 2 days to get through it. And it would have taken me a gazillion years because I almost was like taking notes on every word she said. It was so good. And finally I just said, I need to just listen through it. Otherwise I'll never get past chapter 1.
So are you gonna get the hard copy and then make notes in it?
I think that's what I'm gonna do. I mean, I actually used one of my many journals and dedicated it to this book. Because there's a lot of work at the end of each chapter. There's questions to answer and mantras and, just kind of like homework things to kind of bust through if you have any, issues or whatever. How about you?
Well, so I went back to business school because I'm me, and of course I did.
Yes.
I went to business school for a couple of years, and one of the classes that I had was called consultative selling.
Ooh.
So basically, it's for people like us who realistically we are selling, whether it's product or our services.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
We are constantly selling. But the consultative part was the part that kind of gets you over that. Everybody hears sales and goes, ugh, I can't do that. Everybody. Well, no, except the people who are just born that way. But the rest of us have that little bit of a hurdle to get over. And it was really good. It had all kinds of tips for dealing with different personalities and how to present things. And so that's more on the actual selling part. But for me, that was
it's a big part. Actually, she says, if you are listening to this or reading this book and you have a business, stop saying, I hate sales.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that is like if you, that doesn't make sense. You need to go work. If you don't like sales, then you need to go work for someone else.
And you don't have to think of it necessarily as being a sales thing, but you're helping people and you want them to pay you money
to help them.
to help them.
Yeah. And to get to that point, you have to sell yourself, you have to sell your services, you have to, there's all
Mm-hmm.
kinds.
Absolutely.
Silent selling, just being, showing up authentically as you and
Mm-hmm.
presenting well. And then, of course, just selling. I mean, you got to keep asking. No one's just going to,
And
pull out
that's
their,
one of the things is people tend to just go, oh, they said no.
and
Or
who's
maybe they
I
just said
really want no.
maybe.
Yeah.
You have to find out the whys because sometimes what they're saying isn't necessarily what they mean.
No is a knee jerk, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I'll walk into a store and someone will go, "Are you looking for anything?" And I could be looking for something and they could save me a lot of time. And I always say no.
I
And
used
then
to
they
be like,
walk away and I'm like, oh, I really don't have time to be looking for this. I should have just asked them and I'd start looking around for somebody. It's weird.
I will say that working retail pretty much cured me of that. There are times when I say, no, I'm just looking, but I'm legitimately just
Yeah.
looking.
Just looking.
But
Yeah.
if I need something, I've gotten to the point where I walk in, they go, do you need any help? Is there something in particular? Yes, please. Where is this? Because I need to get it.
Yeah. I need to get
Can
it
I
and I
do it
need to
like
get out
this
of
and this
here.
and this? And they're like, oh, whoa, I can't help you. Let me find you somebody else.
Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. So this was a book, and then you are currently reading also Get Rich Lucky Bitch
I am. I haven't
by Denise
gotten super
Duffield.
far in it, but it's been the part I've read so far is great because it talks about like one of the first things she has you do is literally and figuratively declutter. So making sure that it's not just the things around you that are decluttered, but getting some of those crappy mindsets out of your head so that you have room for the good ones.
You talking about that just reminded me of, I don't know if you've ever heard of Kate Northrup. Have you heard of her? Her
I don't know.
mother is Christiane Northrup. She's a doctor. She's very famous. She's always on like Oprah, Today Show. Um, anyway, her daughter wrote a book called Money, a Love Story. And it's really a good book. Like it just has you reframe it. And when that book first came out, she did a 30-day money love challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And I took it and it completely shifted everything. And that's going to be actually, we kind of wrote down some of the points we wanted to talk about today. But the first thing you need to start with are some of your old stories.
Mm-hmm.
About money, and you have to really go back to some of your earliest memories. And we were in a private group, people get really raw about those memories. There can be some traumatic things that, happen around money. They could be fights between parents, they could be
Mm-hmm.
divorces, gambling issues. When you go back to your earliest memories, it's very interesting. It really can set the tone
Hmm.
for success or failure later in life.
I would imagine whatever you see when you're growing up, it just makes sense because, if you see that your parents are always spending money when they shouldn't, you might tend to lean the opposite direction and never
Mhm.
spend money.
Yeah, exactly. Or do what was modeled for you. It can go either way.
Yeah.
Um, so going back to your old money stories is usually the first step to
Mm-hmm.
like uncovering. I remember when I did that. Um, it was interesting because I started to gain weight. It was so weird. Not that anything traumatic happened around it, but it was just going to that place and undigging and staying in that really kind of uncomfortableness.
Uh-huh.
I was like started packing in food, which was kind of weird. It's like you think, hey, I'm working on this money thing, and all of a sudden I was just like eating a ton, and I thought like a few pounds, but I'm 5'2". few pounds is like, you know. Let me take a drink of water. Mm.
Well, that's pretty much the same thing as decluttering. I'm cool with that.
It can pull up a lot of.
So I don't know about the book that you were reading, but the second thing that oh shoot, I can't remember her name. I'm going to put a link to the book in there somewhere. But the second thing she mentioned
Denise.
was changing your mindset and thinking of being grateful for the things that do pop up. So like if somebody gives you something, being grateful that you didn't have to pay money for it, or just recognizing all the little good things that happen related to money in your
Mm-hmm.
life
Mm-hmm.
and acknowledging them and
More.
enjoying them.
More. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
When you pay attention to it and enjoy it and are appropriately grateful, it's amazing how much more kind of flows in.
Yeah. Like it's so crazy. So I'm reading this book and then like all of a sudden I get a text, hey, come pick up a check. I wanted to give you some money for my son's going to a trip in Japan. I have a check. Come pick it up and get, put it towards his trip. Not I didn't even ask for it.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Just like stuff like that when you start paying attention to money,
Mm-hmm.
synchronicities like that start to happen. um, One of the most interesting things that she did that made me think, wow, how wacky we can be about money sometimes, is she said to write a letter to money. And she read her letter and then samples of other people's letters, and they sort of went like, dear money, I love you and I hate that I love you. I I feel gross that I want you so badly, but I get so excited when you show up in my life. You know, Whenever you leave, I think that you're never going to come back, and when you show up, I get so excited. So it's like really like this, you see this like tension of why
Mm-hmm.
people say I want money, like, oh, I want $1 million. But then if you write that letter, you see that really they're actually pushing it away because something about them feels gross about, or
Uh-huh.
shallow about wanting money. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah, yeah,
they're
yeah.
like, there's no way, like you're sending out mixed signals, and there's no way for money to come to you if really deep inside you think that people are dirty. Like you always hear like
Mm-hmm.
money's dirty, like that
The
people
root
are
of all
like,
evils.
exactly, money
Yeah.
doesn't grow on trees. There's all these things that that are in our psyche that like, if these letters were incredible. I was like, oh, like some of the sentences, I was like, oh my God, I could have written that.
I
Oh
can't
my
even
God, I could
imagine.
have written
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So that is a really cool thing. Like um, write a letter to money as if it was like a lover.
Mm.
You
That,
know,
oh gosh. I'm trying to think now what I would write.
you just have to do it because right, 'cause you have to get like in it.
Yeah.
I'm almost like I haven't done it yet, but it's definitely one of the things that's on my list. But it feels like it's almost like I feel like I'm tiptoeing up to it. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm
Hmm.
all, oh, I can't wait to see what I uncover.
Right. No, I could, yeah, I'm kind of afraid now thinking what I would
Yeah,
have
I
to
guess that's
say with.
yeah, I have trepidation or something, which is weird, which doesn't that like tell you something? Like there's
Oh,
something there that's,
it really does. Oh. Okay, now we're all going to have to write letters to
we
money.
all need to write a letter to
Yeah.
money. And, we don't have to share that, but it's like definitely like something to do.
Something to put on our checklist.
So go back to and write your earliest recollection of money. See if there's
Mhm.
anything, any shame around there. There were some stories where um, there was a woman who, one of the ways her dad showed her love was by giving her money. And so she had this story, if I make money, then he won't feel like I need him and he won't love me anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Because that was just, and so finally she pushed past that into like a six-figure
Mhm.
salary. Um, but and he still gave her money and she still received it happily. So it was just
Mhm.
like a story in a block. And once she went past it, it was like he didn't care, and she could still receive money from him and he could still
Right.
give it to her. And, it was like, but it's so crazy, some of the things that can happen.
How
So
often we have those things that we don't even realize are stopping us.
so complicated. We're such complicated creatures.
Why are we so darn complicated?
So definitely, I mean, those are 3 books. If money is an issue, I mean, you don't have to go out and do all 3, but
Mhm.
definitely I would choose one of them. They're all, I'm pretty sure, even though you just got into Denise Duffield
That's
Thomason,
her name. Yeah, I think so.
um, I follow her on social. She's great. She has all
Hmm.
kinds of great videos as well. But I'm sure they all do. She does a lot with manifesting,
Yes.
like manifesting tips and stuff like that. Um, Definitely pick one and go to it. What I also loved about the you're a badass at making money is some of the mantras. So let me just um, you know the mantras are just things to, so once you uncover some of those thoughts, you need to you can't just purge it and leave an empty space there. You kind of have to replace it with something. So some of the things where I allow ideas, services, and opportunities into my world today. If you just,
Hmm.
like, okay, just be open, just observe it. Where do you see a hole? It's like the
Uh-huh.
other day that sort of triggered me to do a survey and survey my people. Like, how can I serve my people? And let them tell me how I can serve them.
And you had some surprises from that, didn't you?
I had a big old surprise, which you didn't have a surprise about it, but yeah, there was a service that I'm not even offering that that was the Head and Tails winner, which is like it's well, I had worded it like a decorating bestie or design bestie,
Hmm.
or design coaching is kind of how I described it in the survey, and that was like heads and tails above every other service that I put on there. So I'm working on it. I'm putting a package together now, and I'll start promoting that, start launching that in a couple weeks. But I'm excited about it
Yeah,
because it was something I never even thought about, and it's going to be a new way of doing business for me. So I think it'll be really good.
I'm excited.
Yeah. So I mean, just that. Um, another one was I love money because I love myself. Money puts a roof over your head and food
Hmm.
in your tummy, and um, it's definitely a good mantra. I love money, and money loves me.
And I think one of the things that I would want to add is something about money helps me help other people.
Others, absolutely.
Hmm.
Um,
I have to write that down.
yeah, because it's true. So that leads me to actually the last one. And we've talked about it before. She says there has to be a why in your business. There has to be a why.
Hmm.
And you have to get in, and that's another one of the homework things. You have to get in and get really specific about it. Like, I always say my family is a big why. But, I haven't really sat down and written what that means. You know what I mean? Like gotten in
Right.
and written the details of
Hmm.
that. Like that means that I can go on, the vacations that I want with my family. That means that I can buy my son a car that's dependable. That means that I can afford to pay his college happily and joyfully. That's, you know what I mean? Just like,
Yep.
what does that exactly mean?
Yeah.
And you can even go even further and create a vision board around that. So,
And even I went to a thing called LeaderCast the other day, and it was really about defining your purpose.
ah,
And one of the speakers, I'm going to have to find my notes to see which one it was, but one of the speakers was talking about that your purpose should be able to be summed up in a sentence.
ah,
She was, or she did created, built, worked. Let me. I'll give you the one that he did for Abraham Lincoln. That's an easy one. He preserved the Union and freed the slaves. That's a pretty darn good sentence right there.
That's pretty dang concise.
Yeah. And so ever since then, that was on Friday. Today is Tuesday. I have just been sitting there pondering what my sentence should be. And I think it should be something along the lines of I build homes. Not necessarily literally, but I'm sorry, everybody. Poor Rachel just sneezed and she very nicely muted herself. But her face is so funny. You're going to have to go watch
I'm unmuted. I'm so sorry. All of a sudden, I just...
Zoom tight.
Ooh, thank you.
So, where was I? Yes. Oh, my sentence, I think, should be something along the lines of I build homes or I help people build homes, something like that. Create homes.
Yeah. And maybe even deeper into the meaning of what home is.
Yeah. And not for me, it's not just the literal.
Yeah, it's not the physical building and, it's, building a life or building.
So, yeah, for me, and that's the perfect description of not only what I want my business to be, but what I want my social responsibility aspect of my life to be. So I'm toying with it. I haven't quite nipped it in the bud yet, but I'm getting there.
I kind of feel like I need to do that too. Some kind of, I guess it would be kind of almost even a little manifesto.
Yeah.
Because, I always talk about how I magnetize and attract these certain types of projects to me, and it happened again this week. A woman contacted me. She lost her husband recently, and she wants to redo her master bedroom because it reminds her of the memories. So there's going to have to be a way of honoring that relationship and also moving forward. And I find myself getting these projects time after time after time, and I think I need to sit and really figure out why I keep magnetizing them to me. I know it's somewhere in my why, because every project is hard. I mean, everybody thinks what we do is fun and, oh, how fun, you're a decorator or a designer. And work is work, and every project is full. It's filled with snafus and, there can even be tensions, especially if you get into renovations and stuff.
Right.
Time gets long and, and people are living in these like unsettling ways. And for me, it helps to have, when I think of like this, okay, maybe this is going to be a hard project, and the middle's going to get icky, but at the end, it's going to be so transformative for her, and it's going to help her move forward and hopefully find love again in her life. And, that's big. Sometimes it lurches my stomach even.
Yeah.
I feel like, it's not just pretty. Like there's a lot weighing on this.
Absolutely.
But that's also what lights me up.
Every time you talk about it.
Yeah.
I've talked about it multiple times.
Yeah.
It's definitely, it makes you more effervescent than normal.
It does. I mean, I think about it and I just felt a difference in my body. I think of all the like hardness and it just weighs. And then I like think of the end, and I'm like, it's going to be so perfect. And it won't be, but anyway, that's a huge part of my why. So I really need to dig in though. I really need to dig in deep and not just, be surfacey about I do it for my family or I do it to help people. I really want to get in, and I feel like so much more will happen. I feel like everything's inside of us anyway, and using that pen to paper, it's like getting, sometimes you get a blip of it somewhere, but as soon as it comes into your head, it's gone. And I need to just really solidify it.
Well, one of the other things that they were talking about your purpose is if you know your purpose, it makes it much easier to say no to the things that don't fit your purpose.
That's
And it
right.
keeps you more on track and open to the opportunities that you should be taking as opposed to getting distracted with all of the other pretties that are out there.
Yes. Yes.
So,
I agree with that. That's you have to do it to make money, and we have a business, and we're in the business of making money and making
mhm.
beautiful, beautiful worlds around us. Um, and I think that's it. I mean, I'm looking at all of our little notes here. Go get those books, dig
Yeah.
in, do some homework. Hopefully you won't gain weight as you do it like I did.
I think I might have two.
I'm all I'm all
Hmm.
eating, I'm all stuffing my face. I'm like, back to that money story. I'm all writing, mindlessly eating and
Uh-huh.
writing in my journal.
So we want to hear though what you guys think about those books and your money
Have you
mindset and
Yeah, have you read any of them?
yeah,
Are you reading or planning to? This is like really we'll have to do a follow-up.
we will.
We'll put it in our calendar, maybe 3 months out.
That was exactly what I was thinking.
Really?
3 months from now.
Let's do how
Mm-hmm.
3 months from now we'll mark our calendars how these books have, because I'm going to get the one that you suggested, and you're going to
And I'll get the one that,
get
yep,
the one that I just
yep.
did. Um, and we'll see how that's shifted
Ooh,
our
I'm
businesses.
excited.
All right. Dixie and her fancy microphone.
I keep hitting it.
So that is today's episode of Design and Style.
And hey, come over and find us on Facebook. We
Yes.
are the Design+Style Club. If you search us, we would
Yes.
love to have you and come and see us and hang out and chat with us.
Absolutely. Have a great day.
Bye, everybody.